Hey, Michelle. How are you? I'm in Paris now, about to start traveling. I've spent a lot of time reflecting on our relationship. I know that I need this time to grow and put my life in order.
Your mother said you were having a hard time.
Can you look at me?
Yeah, I miss you.
I just broke up with my girlfriend.
Sincerely, Simon.
I'd like to meet somebody new.
Excusez-moi.
Salut. Salut.
The film is a delightful musical comedy. No, I actually did see it. It's a I don't know, a dark psychological drama, I suppose you could say, and it's opening Friday, April 5th here in New York. I assume in L.A. Maybe
April 12th.
12th in L.A. Thank you. And but on the 12th, it's also going to be on demand. So, but go if it's playing in the theater, see it in the theater because it looks spectacular. Who does your cinematography? Who's your DP?
On this film and the last few short things we've done, actually, a great DP named Joe Anderson.
Uh-huh.
Joe Anderson started as Jody Lee Leip's assistant cameraman, and Jody shot Martha and shot After School and 2 Gets of Sleep, and a wonderful DP also. And on this, Jody was not available, and we looked at other DPs, and then it was kind of like, well, Joe's always been there with us. He knows he is owed a shot because he's incredibly talented, and so he came, and this is his first feature.
He stepped up, right?
Yeah, and he's a brilliant DP.
You maybe still have because he's been on your film.
Yeah, he has a shorthand with all of us. We all
that helps.
It's important to us that there's a kind of family feel to the set, and that everybody gets along, and that the shorthand's important.
Yeah, especially as the subject matter has been in all 3 films a bit intense at the very least. So it helps that there is a strong sort of center in the group, in the community there on the set.
Yeah.
Right? So, and then how did Brady come about as far as your casting, and how did you first hear about this script? Did you get a copy of it or something? And
Sorry, I can't hear very well. I have water in my ears. I just got back from Panama yesterday, and I've been having a problem with my ear for the last week.
Oh, that's fair. And then you got on the plane, which probably didn't help, right?
Yeah, it fucking sucked, yeah.
I asked, did you get a copy of the script? How did you find out about the character Simon? And where did you...
Basically, Antonio and I had been friends for a long time. We worked together on several films, and we were very, very close. And Antonio and I wanted to work together. We had expressed this to each other many times. And he came to me with an idea for a noir set in Paris, and a sort of a basic concept of the kind of character that this kid Simon would be. And that he would get involved with this hostess that he meets at a hostess bar in Pigalle. And then he and I sort of fleshed out an outline together. We talked through the narrative, and then there was no proper screenplay. We went to Paris, and it was a combination of improv rehearsals that Antonio would then transcribe for our next day's material. Some scenes he had written out, like the opening monologue, or the monologue that opens the film. Some scenes were improv, the ones that are less formal.
Yeah.
Because the film is quite technically precise. So. It was a very unique way of shooting a film.
Yeah. What was it like shooting on the streets of Paris? Was it? Did you guys find it? I don't know. Did you rise to the challenge, or were the French very? They're into film big time. So
they were very. They were. I mean, the French film community was very open and supportive of us. I mean, we had a.
It was actually quite nice shooting on the streets of Paris, especially at night.
So well lit.
It's so well lit. I mean, it's almost like you have to find places with less lighting for night stuff. But the only part where it was like difficult were what you would imagine, which is shooting Gare du Nord and the busy train station because we couldn't shut that down, and then shooting Pigalle at night was, we had big security guard there each time we shot, and a local guy who was like really like embedded in that community and who could talk to people and sort of settle things. But those are the only tricky parts. Shooting in Paris, the thing that my sound guy didn't like was that the sidewalks were so small, it made it very hard to sort of follow with the boom. You kind of had to like be off off the curb in order to follow sometimes.
So it was kind of a give and a take, because on one level, everywhere you shoot, you point the camera, it looks probably pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
You know, in a very basic way. But on the other hand, there are those challenges of an old city.
Yeah, old city. Yeah, exactly, old city. You know, but for the most part, it was nice. I mean, I would do it again in a heartbeat.
So, just for a little background about the story, you got a young guy who shows up in Paris.
I play a young guy from New York that has just arrived in Paris following a bad breakup. And he's lonely and a little heartbroken, or seemingly it's that simple. And after seeking out some friends or relationships in the city, eventually he walks into a hostess bar one night and meets this young hostess who he starts up a relationship with.
Right. And who takes him in.
Yes.
A little bit first to her, maybe she's a little hesitant, I believe, right? Because she's a character that feels bad for the kid. He seems lost and kind of charming in a way, right? But
and she mothers him,
right?
And the relationship is an intensely physical one as well, but probably more intensely physical for him than for her.
Uh-huh. Antonio, you wrote this. You wrote the script.
Yeah, I mean, we basically collaborated on the story, and then I would go and write based on things that we were coming up with, and sometimes there was no script, and sometimes there was.
I see. How does that work out for you? Was it did it present sort of more of a? Would you do that kind of approach?
Yeah,
again,
it was a challenge just because the story stayed pretty close to the structure that was set up, but it was a challenge on a daily basis. Very little sleep for a month because trying to always sort of be one step ahead, even though we were a step behind in some ways. But basically always trying to sort of go, at the end of every day, review everything we shot and say what's working, what's not working. If something's not working, we have to sort of reconfigure it or reimagine it. And so.
You want to see French strip club?
How long have you worked at the bar?
A few months. Do you want to make love?
Hey, Mom. Things are great. I met someone. I think you'd like her.
I would imagine shooting in Paris, they're kind of ghosts of filmmakers past. I wonder if you had like any filmmakers or films in mind. Films
of course. Yeah, I mean, I would say looking at Paris as a character in a film. Last Tango was a film we thought about. The Conformist was a film we thought about. But we were actually looking more at American 70s cinema and looking at Panic in Needle Park and looking at Cruising and looking at Taxi Driver. Yeah, Fassbender a lot.
Do you ask like your cast to look at certain films to get sort of ideas, concepts?
I mean, we look at films together because we like them. But I don't know. I'm not a director that's like, everybody needs to know exactly how this thing's going to look. And I don't think it's... if an actor wants to know, then absolutely, there's nothing to hide. But it's I think sometimes it's better to to not sort of overdo how much you're giving someone. I know a lot of actors like to watch other roles to be inspired for their role, but I prefer that not be the case.
Sure.
I mean, I would almost say I prefer actors to watch documentaries instead of narrative films, because I think documentaries are more you as a point of reference for performance, or there's more to be gained out of a documentary than there is out of someone else's interpretation of real life that you're going to then try to reinterpret. But if you there's more to be gained out of people's stories that are actual real stories that then inspire you or give you a way into a character or a detail, a character trait that you can then play with and then develop into something that makes the character, that kind of approach.
With Having Made After School and Marcy May Marlene. Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And now Simon Killer. And by the way, I wanted to ask you also about the title because you're kind of the cat's out of the bag for the moment. Go.
Kind of,
right?
yeah.
Right?
Kind of, yeah.
You didn't really. That was very intentional, and it's a great title.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
You're all, actually, now that I think about all of them, are pretty good titles.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny because I think some people find it misleading, but for us, it's very, yeah. It's like There Will Be Blood. It's kind of like, it's only the last 5 minutes. We're like, oh, there's that blood.
There's the titular,
and there's a bigger implication of it too. And it's funny though because as I was saying before, it's like people get angry about the title because they feel like there's not enough killing. I want more killing. It's like damn it, if I go to a movie where there's killer in the title, it better be bloody and violent.
Right. Nobody can claim to be surprised if they go to
No. They can. They're surprised by how much less violence there is than what they wanted.
It's true, but yet how very all of a sudden disturbing. It's
yes.
like you lead them through, and as you grow attached on some level to this character of Simon, you're hoping, maybe he'll figure a way out. The poor kid, maybe because you kind of start to root for him. You son of a bitch, you're manipulating us like that.
Yeah.
And then at the end, oh no. But it is true for the majority of the film. There is no indication of violence. Other than what's actually, he is the victim of a couple of cases of violence, but in the film. But anyway, it's a great film. And how have the responses been?
The response has been good. It's been nice. I've been in a lot of places. Chicago, Philly, I've been San Fran, London, Portugal, Rotterdam. Lots of places. Are you going to come to Cancun with me?
We got to talk about that tomorrow. We got to figure. We're talking about it tonight. I might not be able to.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Why?
I tell you what I'll do. I'll go for Brady.
Yeah, you'll go. You'll come with us.
I'll try to.
You and me, we'll do it.
Squeeze it in.
Cancun Film Festival.
I'll get my wax.
The Riviera Matias Film Festival or something.
So the film is called Simon Killer. The filmmaker is Antonio Campos, and actor Brady Corbet plays the lead. And just mention a couple of the other actors in it.
Maddie Diop, the lovely Maddie Diop.
She really is lovely.
Yes, who plays Victoria, and
the girl
Constance Rousseau.
Yeah.
Constance Rousseau plays Marianne with the eyes.
You'll know what that
Sila
means.
Saleh, who plays her friend. Michael Abitbol, who plays the cop, and Solo. One name man, Solo, who plays Renee, a John.
Again, and it opens Friday the 5th of April, and then also on demand and more wide, I guess, on April 12th. And we'll look forward to everyone seeing it. Thanks a lot for coming on.
Thanks
very much. Thank you.